and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Rachel. I'm here with teacher Alex.
Hi, everyone.
What are we going to talk about today?
We are talking about two things that are very important to students' lives: cell phones and school.
We are both at school, so they are very important to us too.
That's true. We are both in school every day, and we also use our phones quite a bit. How many hours a day do you use your cell phone?
I think it's about 3 to 4 hours a day, but this does not include the time I spend in front of my computer screen.
My phone says I use it about 3 hours a day, and that is a lot longer than I want. But if you include my computer screen, you're right. I use phones and computers for a really long time.
Yes, our phones are very addictive, like cigarettes or betel nuts. I know I should stop looking at my cell phone, but sometimes it's very difficult.
And it is also very difficult for students too. That's why our students can't use phones in school. But today we are going to talk about students using their phones in Canada.
All right, let's get started. Today, we are talking about an article about banning or taking away cell phones in Canadian schools. But before we talk about what we read, what do you think, Alex? Do you think students should use their cell phones in class?
That's a good question. In my life, I have heard many students say that cell phones are tools. When I was young, I said the same thing. If we have cell phones, we can use them to learn new words, we can search for things we don't understand, and we can share information quickly. But, to be honest, although this is true, I think most students, and me, usually don't use our phones this way. When I am at home, I use my cell phone to practice Chinese, but in a classroom, maybe it will help me 10% of the time, but it will distract me 90% of the time. For me, I think banning phones in the classroom is a good decision. What about you?
I think I agree with you. Phones can be useful, but they are also very distracting. In class, students should focus on the teacher, not on their phones. Maybe schools can let students use their phones only for special activities, like research or group projects. Most of the time, I think it's better to keep them in their bags.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because when we were junior high students, phones were not very powerful or good. I could message my friends and I could play one or two very old school games, but now students can do anything. They can watch YouTube, listen to music, or stream Netflix. New phones need new rules because they are just too good.
That's true. And you know, when we were students, most people didn't even have their own phones until high school. Back then, the internet wasn't as fast or as common. So even if we had phones, we couldn't do much with them. But now, things are completely different. Many children get their first phone in elementary school, and they already have internet access. They can get information from all over the world. It's so easy for them to connect to everything. This is very different from our time, and it makes it harder for teachers to keep students focused in class.
Exactly. The world has changed so fast. Technology gives students a lot of opportunities to learn, but it also brings more distractions. Maybe schools need to teach students how to use technology wisely, not just take it away. For example, I saw a student playing on a smartwatch the other day. Do we need to take away watches? What if a student uses them for health reasons?
That's a really good point. Smartwatches are different from regular watches. They can show messages, play games, and even let students go on the internet.
But at the same time, they also have helpful functions like checking your heart rate, or reminding students to stand up and move. Some students might need them for health problems like heart conditions or diabetes.
Right, and teachers might not always know which students actually need them. If schools made a rule to ban smartwatches, it could be unfair to those students who use them for medical reasons.
Maybe instead of banning them completely, schools could set clear, easy to understand rules. For example, students can wear smartwatches, but they can't use the screen during class unless it's for health or emergency reasons.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's similar to how schools manage phones, not completely banning them, but controlling how and when students can use them.
Exactly. That way, students who need smartwatches for health can keep using them, and teachers can still make sure everyone stays focused in class.
But how can teachers know if a student is really using the smartwatch for health or just for fun? Some students might say it's for health, but they are actually playing games or checking messages.
Maybe parents could give the school a note or a medical report if their child really needs to use a smartwatch for health reasons. Then the teacher will know who really is allowed to use it.
That makes sense. It would also help teachers feel more comfortable because they wouldn't have to guess. They could just follow the list of students who are allowed to use their watches during class.
Yes, and if other students see that there are clear rules, maybe they won't try to use their smartwatches secretly anymore.
Another issue is apps. Now we have apps that students love, and the companies who make them want people to watch all the time to make more money. They design the apps to be very colorful, fun, and even addictive.
Yes, our time is how companies make money. Every time we watch an ad, the companies make a little bit more, and they are happy when we watch more and more. And the more we watch, the more data they collect about us, and they use that data to make even more ads.
Right, so it's not just about having fun. Students might think they are choosing to watch, but actually, the apps are trying to keep their attention. That's why it's so hard for students to focus on studying when they have their phones or smartwatches next to them.
Exactly. It's like a competition between teachers and these big companies for students' attention. And most of the time, the companies win.
I agree. Technology will always be around, so students need to learn how to use it wisely, not let it control their lives.
Yeah, and that's really the main point, I think. Phones, smartwatches, and all these apps like YouTube or TikTok are not completely bad. They can be useful, and they can even help students learn. But the problem is that most students don't know how to control their time yet. They just follow what the app wants them to do, like watching one more video and then another and then another. So if we only ban these devices, students might not learn how to manage their habits. But if we teach them how to be responsible, they can learn to focus when they need to and relax when they need to. That's a really important skill for life, not just for school.
The article from CBC Kids News says, experts also see this problem. One expert says students' mental health and grades are slowly getting worse, and at the same time, their phone use is going up. There are probably other reasons, but this expert thinks phones are a big part of the problem.
Another expert said cyberbullying, being mean to others online, is also a bigger problem now. Before, the internet was where we escaped real life for a short time, But now, the internet is where we live. It can be great, but it's also kind of scary because it's such a big part of our lives.
That's true. And this problem isn't just in Canada or Taiwan. I read in a news article from Reporter for Kids that almost 80 countries or regions around the world already have rules about phones in schools.
It's something that many countries are worried about. But even though the rules sound simple, they are actually really hard to implement, to put into schools. And schools need enough teachers to watch students, and every school is different. Some students feel anxious if they can't have their phones, and some parents even complain about the rules.
So just making laws is not enough.
Right. The article said that rules are only the first step. After that, schools need to slowly adjust the rules, give students time to get used to them, and also teach them how to use phones and the internet responsibly. If not, students might just hide their phones or try to break the rules.
That makes sense. It's not about banning technology. It's about helping students build good habits.
That's true. But I think learning to live without your phone is a very valuable, If students can learn how to control their phones instead of letting their phones control them, then we don't need to be afraid of new technology at all.
Phones will always be around, so the bad thing we can do is help students learn how to use them wisely. It's time to talk about our 3 words. What are they, Alex?
Our 3 words are mental health,
Mental health, 心理健康
ban or banning,
ban or banning, 禁止
distraction or distracting.
distraction, distracting, 分心的事物或是令人分心的
For example, banning distractions like cell phones can be good for our mental health. All right, now it is time for our discussion question. Do you think cell phones are a distraction in the classroom? Write down your answers and send your worksheet to the Google form. You may win a big prize later. For more information, please visit the Taoyuan ETRC website or Facebook page.
同学们听完本周的 podcast 后，欢迎投稿你们的学习单。投稿的 Google 表单连结，请见桃园市英语教学资源中心脸书或官方网站。只要投稿1次，就有1次抽奖机会。每次段考抽好礼，期末加码抽大礼。
Thank you very much for joining us today.
This program is sponsored and brought to you by Taoyuan ETRC.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.